What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the 2024 season build-up, and the cart is back from Margay. It is all fixed up. The crack has been repaired. This is where the crack was before. Here we are. So right in there, that's where the crack was before. You can see where they've re-welded it, and now there is absolutely no crack to be seen, and it has been repainted, resurfaced, and it looks good as new again. So that is awesome. Another note with this thing, we have established that whatever I was seeing last year, it was not a crack. There is no crack to be seen. The autofocus on this camera is so bad. Focus on the object that is right in front of you. There you are. Alright, so this is probably the best angle I can get. Right in this area where the flashlight is, that is where the alleged crack was. But we have established that there's actually no crack to be seen. Nothing has been compromised. I'm thinking that if there ever was a crack there, or if I did see something, then it was probably just a crack in the powder coat layer from the impact. But from some extensive looking at it, we have established that there is no crack, and it is not something that we should be concerned about. And while it was there, we did spend some time trying to get this straightened out a little bit. It's still a little bit wonky, but it does look quite a bit better than it did before, so hopefully that should help the spindle go on a lot better. And that is what we are doing today. So we are going to start by putting on the front steering assembly, and then probably work our way to the rear axle, and then kind of work our way up from there. Also, a couple more things. Those things I mentioned in the last video that I needed to get, I did get. So we have a throttle cable and a new brake rotor to replace that skanky one right there. And then I got one new set of tires. I'm going to hold off on the second set for now, just have this one that I can run in the spec series. And the wheels that I painted in the last video will need repainted. They did not survive the tire mounting machine, so no big deal, but that can be fixed. Oh, and I got this. I got a spare nut and bolt kit, because there will be some times during this rebuild process and throughout the season where I will probably need some spare bolts that I cannot just scavenge from the Carplex boneyard of parts. So having a nice set of brand new parts like this will be super duper nice and will help make sure that everything is fresh and functional. Oh, what the heck? This is going way easier than before. I think you're so smart, don't you? I've done it! When we tried putting this on last fall after the crash, it probably took about like a 2 to 4 man team about like 20 minutes to get this on with how bent it was. That took me less than 5 minutes on my own. That's how much it improved. The spindle installation speed run. No! Oh, you done it now. Oh, you done it now. Oh, there we are. Absolutely incredible.
12 seconds later.
Alright, I spent about an hour working on the cart, getting some things done, and we actually managed to get quite a bit done on this. This is what it looks like now. I managed to get both of the spindles and tie rods on. Basically the entire steering assembly is back, including the steering wheel. And then I also put the rear axle on, including the brand new brake rotor. So that is all good, and I made sure to tighten everything and make sure everything is straight. So this is all good to go, and it rolls nice and fluid. So that is great. And then I also put on the floor pan with some of the new bolts that came in my kit with little dampeners on the bottom. And I have a little sticker down there, kind of a teaser of what's to come. So yeah, that's what we got for right now. Come back tomorrow and we'll do some more stuff. And welcome back. It's actually been a couple days. So I already did a couple things. For one, I put the seat back on just because that's something simple and easy. And it just gets us one step forward. And then I also put the chain on, which is something I forgot to do when I put the axle on in the last segment. And it's something you need to do because you need to put the chain on with the axle, or else it will not go on. So that's cool. Next step is the engine and the fuel system. So now we are going to work on getting that hooked up, and after that we'll work on the throttle and brake, and aesthetics will be last. Alright, I've got my custard and I've got my naughty stick. Let's get to work. Alright, we are on the home stretch to making this a functional go-kart. The last thing we need to do with all of the power unit and fueling system lined up is to get the throttle and the brake linked up so that we can put that power to my body to the power. Yes, my body to the power. I do believe that something very stupid has just happened here. I was working on getting the slide and the throttle cable attached on there. When I tried to put the black slide on there, it fell off, and I believe it fell down there. And as you can see, there is pretty much no end to that hole. So, yeah, I just lost my throttle slide. That's awesome. And it is the next day, and we get to put what we're going to call for now the finishing touches on the rebuild of the kart, and that is test fitting the new bodywork that I got for this kart. Yes, I got a whole new set of bodywork for the 2024 season. This old set that I still have over here has been battered and bruised, probably far too much, especially running it without vinyl. It has a lot of scratches and dents on it, and I just figured it's about time that it be retired. So we got a nice, clean, new set for this year, and I got a nice new livery to go with it, and that new bodywork looks like this. So I went with a full white bodywork design rather than black. You'll see why when I do the livery. But I went full white. It is a new style of bodywork. It is slightly updated, a little bit more sleek, a little bit more aerodynamic. It has different side pods, and it has a different front bumper design with these little things right here. So far, with the test fit, this stuff fits very well. The front bumper and the front fairing fits pretty much perfectly, so that's awesome. But the side pods, however, are way too wide, and that is simply because of these. So because of this new side pod design, I had to get new frame rails to attach them. And these frame rails that come factory from KG have not been trimmed down to fit the K3. So if we go ahead and put a rear wheel on, okay, so here's a rear wheel mounted on the kart in pretty much the exact same track width that I ran last year. And this is what it looks like with the new bodywork. So like I said, these have not been trimmed down. These are factory frame rails from KG. And the rear bumper, or the side pods rather, stick out about a full inch from the outside edge of the wheel, which is no bueno. I will probably have to go to Margay or somewhere with a very powerful saw to cut these down to size. As far as the back goes, I have another rear bumper that is exactly identical to the old one. It only comes in black, but I'm also going to paint that in white to match everything else, and then put a livery over all of that. And you'll see why I chose white when you see the livery, because I think that it'll go with it very, very well as a base color. Also, here's another fun fact for you guys. I can't remember if it was the front fairing or the front bumper, but this, I think it was the front bumper. This front bumper in the white color, this is the very last white front bumper in this configuration in the entire United States. I found the last one that I could get for this kart. And so that was a huge, huge find. I'd like to thank my mom for doing all the research and getting that for me, completing the look of this kart, because with all the pieces together, it looks really, really good, and I can't wait to see it with the vinyl on it. Sit rep. The situation gets worse. I don't know how I managed to do this, but when I was putting the steering wheel back on the kart, the bolt to put on the steering wheel somehow managed to get caught up in the micron wire, if it'll focus. There we are. See this wire here? That is supposed to be one solid wire. And somehow the bolt that attaches the steering wheel onto the kart managed to completely chew that up. And so this probably doesn't work anymore. So that is yet another new part that I messed up that I'm going to have to buy. So, awesome. And the last thing I did, which is probably from the RPM lead thing, is adjust the steering wheel from its higher position down to its lower position, which is like maybe half an inch, as you can see there, so that it can tuck down a little bit more. It'll mean that it's a little bit further away from me, which isn't really a problem. I've never really had a problem with reaching the wheel, but it'll also mean that it tucks lower below this so that the air will go over this easier, and make the car slightly more aerodynamic. It probably won't make that much of a difference, but it'll make the car look better, and it'll probably make a tiny, tiny difference. We'll see. Okay, it's been a couple of days, and we got what we need, sort of. We have a throttle slide again to replace the old one that went down the poopy drain, and then we got the things trimmed down by probably 3.5 centimeters. So that they could be further in, and now they are pretty much bang on flush with the rear wheels. So that is awesome, and that's that problem fixed. So now all we need to do is just put that on, and then we'll be all good for now. Alright, I want you guys to listen closely. This is your little lesson for today. Watch this little screw here. This controls the stop on the gas pedal. And listen to when I put the throttle down. You can hear the thud of the pedal. You can't hear anything from the carburetor. Now, what I'm going to do is tighten this a little bit. Now, listen to that same thing. Hear that little click coming from the carburetor? That means that the slide is hitting the bottom of the little cylindrical thingy it's in, and that means that you're getting full throttle. So, if you're not hearing that click, you are not getting full throttle. And ideally, you want to get that as close to the very edge of the engagement point so that you're not putting any strain on this thing. So that seems pretty good, and just like that, our throttle assembly is all hooked up. Hooray. And I think just like that, we have a working go-kart, apart from the micron lead and the little carb dump tube that I forgot to mention earlier. Everything is put back together, aside from the rear bumper. So we are going to paint the rear bumper white to match everything else on here, and then we are going to put the stickers on this, and I'm going to snake you guys. You guys aren't going to see that in this video, so you're going to have to wait. But for now, this thing looks incredible. I cannot wait for this year's season to get going. It can't come any sooner. I don't know. It's currently March 12th, so The track will probably open again within the next week or two, and whenever it does, you can know that I will be out there first and testing and getting ready for the 2024 season. And we will be more ready than ever. So, I will see you guys in the next video where we're going to shake this card down for the first time. And I hope you look forward to that. Peace out.